What's going on, everybody? Sorry about the mask here. We're actually doing some gel coat work, and it's a little too early to be smelling this crap. This pretty strong stuff. Let me show you what we're doing here. So basically, this window is getting replaced, this whole center track window here. So let me finish slapping some paint on this. We'll get back to whatever we might be doing today. Alright, let's put this stuff back here. So we got the first coat on. Actually didn't explain what I'm doing and the reason I'm doing it here. If you look, see these little spots where the metal's showing here? That actually can cause it to flake. So we've primed it and we are painting every bit of that. I'm gonna come back and do another coat of this because there's still a little bit showing, but you gotta let this cure up and then do it one more time. And basically we'll bond the new windshield in place with some probably plexus or something like that. Bond them together, and then you use the Grady white sealer all the way around. Pretty much hides all this. You'll never see any of where I painted, but we just don't want any risk of flaking the powder coating off of this. So that's why we were taking extra steps here. Now let me go talk to the boss. We'll see what we can get into. Well, we've been tasked to figure out why this Regal floating right here will not start. I guess it got towed in on the weekend. If I had to guess, we have a bad starter. That is a common problem with the era. This is a 2019, which means that motor is probably a 2018. And I don't remember, I think it's like 2015 to 2018, something like that. That's when the starters fail, or starting to fail now. We're seeing it more and more. If you go back to episode 113, I actually detail how to change the starter. So if you want to see that, go back. Let's uncover it. Alright, let's turn the batteries on. We'll see what we got first. Let's just crank it up. Nothing. We are in neutral. Yeah. Got our lanyard in. So let's pull the cowling, see what we got. So cowling's off. We turn the key switch again. We hear clicking. We know that that starter's bad. Well, just like I thought, starter's bad. I'm not going to do this in front of everybody because, like I said, you can go back to 113, I looked it up, and see the detailed version of throwing a new starter on here. So let me do that. We'll cut back to cranking it up. Well, there's our old starter. We are all set back up. We'll turn our batteries on and hope for the best here. Alright, let's try this again. Well, that's good. Let's do it again. Well, that's good news. Now, I'm gonna pack everything up here. I want to mention one thing. Salty Mechanics. It's actually a channel that I watch quite a bit because he's on the docks in Norway. Very cinematic filmmaking. Does the same thing I do, but in a different world. It's pretty cool stuff. Check it out. It's called Salty Mechanics. If you like what I'm doing, if you enjoy boats, all that kind of stuff, it's a good channel. Anyway, let's figure out what we're doing next. Well, we're back, and that 456 right there is what we're going to jump on. Right next to it is that Grady white that I was doing the painting on this morning. We're letting that cure up still. Here's our contender. This is going to be in some of my videos coming up here because we got some pieces coming for it. So get ready for this one. We'll be getting this one ready for a sea trials. I'm sure there's going to be a few videos because still a lot of work to do. We got to take the whole dash apart still on this one. The older sport coupe here they're working on. I think they bent the windlass thing up here, the bridle up here, and they got a little leak in the back they're fixing right now. So let's get our big boat down here and jump in it. Listen to this lift, it always cries when you use it. It doesn't like this heavy Grady white on it. Well, she's down enough I can jump on here. Look at this. I was just walking by. Somebody found a little seahorse. They're all over here. You can net them a lot if you're catching bait and stuff. Well, let's get on here. That's the part we need. This is actually just a C-zone display. Something happened to this display here. I don't know what happened, but she stopped working, put a fuse in it, and just blows the fuse. So we got a new one. Let's get this one out of there, and we'll see if the new one works. Should just be able to pull this little plastic cover off of here. Well, that's funny. I got a number 2 screwdriver here, and they're number 1 screws. Let me get the right one. There we go, that's better. Well, let's get our screws out of here. Well, they're not through bolted, but they are quite long. One of them. The other one's out here. Alright, last one. Let's see what we got behind it. Should be one plug, that's what I thought. Want to come off there. There we go. Let's get our new one out here. I don't know if they had a run of problems with these, but I've changed a few of these out already. And it's only this little display, the one in the cabin. The big one seems to always work fine. There we go. Cover. Let's get our little plastic ring off just like the other one. Easy with these because they're pretty fragile. Just a thin little piece of plastic. Let's get her in her home. That's it. Now, before we screw this thing in, let's turn everything on and make sure it works. Here are the keys. Let's fire up number 1. Should be our house power. This boat too has, if you look, instead of 3 giant Garmins, it's got 2. Like 30-inch screens in it. And they're as big as it can get. I mean, you can't get any more into it. I mean, it goes almost all the way underneath this pad. That's how big they are. Let's see if we can light this up. All right, hang on a second. Go in here. Okay, so our C-zone is on. That means that one should be on. So we should be able to just fire this one up. You can just touch the screen usually and it'll light up. Right, the power button. My guess is the last one blew the fuse. Let's find the fuse for it. In this wall here. There we go. It's nice at Grady White. They actually put all of their fuses, everything that's right here, so you can identify it without having to just guess. Which here's our display right here, which should be 3 amp. Be our second one here. Yeah, it's definitely blown. Let's see what happens. Oh, I heard a beep. Let's get our board out of the way. Well, there we go. I don't know where we got this C-zone from. Let's take a look here. It just says C-zone, the part number, all that stuff. But looking at this, Airstream, that's a camper. Well, that I have never seen before. So I'm gonna go ask a few questions real quick, and I'll get back with some answers. Let's put that back in there. So I gotta call it the C-zone. I don't know what happened here. I think they sent us the wrong unit because this is not an Airstream camper. It's a Grady White. So we're gonna put this new one back in the box. Wait for a phone call back. But let's move on and see what's next on the agenda. Well, now we're gonna take a look at this Regal right here. So we went from Yamaha starter, we did some painting, we got some C-zone, and now we're on a Volvo Penta. That's the typical day when you're here at the shop. You're throwing all over the place. So let's get this one down. I guess there's a code going off on the Volvo when you take off, fuel related or whatever, but we'll plug her in and see what's going on. Alright, we are aboard. Now, let's get our batteries on. We're gonna lift up our back hatch. This is a 28 Express with, I'm guessing, a 350 horse Volvo. Typically that's what they put in these. Could be a bigger motor, but we'll find out in a second. Don't break their VHF first. Lift up our hatch. Alright, let's see what we got here. Got a 350 Volvo. Let's get our cover off because first thing we want to plug in, I guess there's a code. We're going to find out what that code is first. Here's our diagnostic plug. Let's get plugged in. Alright, we are plugged in. Let's get our key on so we can see what our computer is going to tell us. Try to stay in the shade here, you can see the computer. I'm also using a different phone because my Samsung finally took a crap, so I went and got a supposedly better one, but we'll find out. Seems to be doing pretty good already. The film seems to be coming out good. Volvo Penta. We are direct injected. Engine data. I'm going to plug it in. Go up here, we'll be able to get to our codes. Get to expand. Long-term fuel trim bank 2. Alright, that is usually because of an oxygen sensor. So it's either running lean or running rich, one or the other. So let's fire it up and see if this code comes back. We're going to delete it, erase both, and we're going to fire it up. We'll take a look. I actually got to back out of this. Let's unplug it. If we select this again, if you look, let's go to our Volvo Penta here. We'll be able to actually select our oxygen sensor data right here, feedback monitor. Now, when we fire it up, we'll be able to look at our different, see, long-term, short-term fuel, bank 1 and 2. We can run it and compare them and see if we got anything off here. All right, let's fire it up. All right, so let's look back at our computer. We have our temperatures. We want to make sure that they both warm up about the same together here. We got trim code 2 on our thing. That's bank 2, which is our starboard side. I don't know. I think these percentages will start once everything warms up, because I know if you look here, you have heaters on our oxygen sensors until everything warms up, and then I think it switches. See, it says closed loop. It's open until our post-cat trim control is active. So that'll be closed, that'll be active, and that'll control the whole system for the right amount of fuel when it's running. So we should be able to get percentages here once everything's warmed up. So we'll let it run. If you look down here, so you got oxygen heater control duty cycle. So heater temperature target, see? There's feedback, so it's reading pretty much the same. Here's the command. See, it's about the same on both here. Oh, right when I was saying that, see, now we're getting trim. And right away, look, this one is 13 compared to negative. So our starboard bank has something weird going on here. That's why we're getting the code. All right, we shut her down. Now, since we know we have a fuel trim code that I've cleared, it started okay. I checked our wiring, everything. I'm gonna check our fuel. I think fuel can definitely cause pre-detonation, or a fuel smell, or something trying to run rich or lean because it's not burning the fuel because the fuel's old or octane level's low. So let's check our fuel through our filter here first. I'm gonna squeeze in the hole there with my wrench and see if I can film it or not. I gotta try to fit myself right here between the generator and our actuator for our hatch here. Lucky I'm only 170 pounds, because if I was any bigger, I don't think I'd be able to do most of my job. Alright, let's get our wrench on here, see if we can get onto our filter. There we go. Alright. What we're going to do, if the fuel looks like crap, we're going to put another fuel tank on it, a remote one, and run it out and see if it changes things. We'll have Devin here take us for a ride. Say hi. Hey. You're all full of bottom paint. Let's see what we got.
Not bad.
No, that fuel looks good. Usually it gets pretty discolored once it goes bad. It starts to turn real yellow. It's a little yellow. There ain't no water or nothing in it. Let's get our filter back on. Alright, filter's on. Let me get out of the hole. Well, alright, this fuel is a little bit questionable. It's a little yellower than I like to see. Usually it's a little more clear. We're going to switch the tank and just run it on a shop tank to make sure that it's not the fuel. It's eliminating that. Could be injectors doing this. There's a couple other scenarios here, bad spark plugs, but I'm pretty sure this thing was just fully serviced and he had this problem prior to it, so we serviced it thinking maybe that would help. Didn't help, so now I'm on it. Hopefully we can resolve the issue here, but let me get the fuel hose hooked up and we'll take it for a ride. Alright, we got a gray fuel line hooked up here. We got our tank. This is kind of wedged in here, it ain't gonna move. I guess this boat wouldn't run over 1200 RPMs, So we'll see pretty quickly if it's going to keep doing the same thing. So let's get it fired up. The beeping was just our depth alarm. We got no codes or anything going off on our gauge here. We obviously have our computer when we're running so we can check stuff out. I don't know where Devin is in the yard here, but I'm gonna find him so he can take me for a ride. I don't see him. I was just complaining about you in the video, like, where'd you go? You disappeared on me.
I'm here.
You see the cable? Cable's loose. Yeah, we're floating. Hang on, let me get this computer off my hand here. We can drive. Bow thruster? There we go. Bow thruster works. We're in reverse. Here. You can do the stemming. I want to pay attention to the computer here. Yeah, so wherever we gotta go under the bridge, right? Will this fit under the bridge of the tide right now?
Gotta look up top.
Looks like our tide's going down. I know that the top of this thing has a light sticking up pretty high.
We got a button there.
Oh yeah, there's a power tower. You can just lower this tower down and get under the bridge. Forgot the little handy things Regal does. Alright, so looking at our trim bank here, we're still pretty far off between the two. Last time I found this, we had bad fuel injectors. So that might be what's happening here. I don't know if the fuel is going to change anything. I just did that because I try to eliminate anything that's obvious. Alright, well, we got a code going off before we even try, so let's see what our codes show here. Oh, look at that. Long-term fuel trim bank. So now that we're actually getting alarm, that thing's shaking pretty bad. Almost like it's missing. We're gonna have to dig a little deeper and pull some plugs out of it and everything else. So we're gonna turn it around here and we'll head back. It's about 5 o'clock anyway, so we're gonna have to continue this venture later. Well, that being said, me and Devin here are gonna mosey our way back to the lift and call it a day for now. I'll keep you updated on what we find here. And as always, I appreciate everybody watching. I will see you next time. Later. Oh, looky here. Got a brand new 38LX Tierra. It's pretty cool, like light blue, grayish color on the side. We also got a 33 SAV right here.